Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Toes the Toss. We are doing a midweek review of IPL matches, and today we will be covering two matches. I'm joined by Tejas, who brings in his in-depth game knowledge and multiplies that with his acute observation skills to tell interesting things that transpire during the matches that we cover today. Today, we are going to review two matches. We will discuss two teams on whom everyone's interest lies, Mumbai Indians and CSK. Two heavyweights, two teams who were highly anticipated to win matches regardless of whom they are playing or the conditions that they are presented with. But in this season, they have had a slow start to this tournament, something which neither of them is new to. I think both of the teams have had occasions where they have scrapped to the semis and then produced dominating performances. Is this the season that would be similar to them, or this season presents something different? Tejas, first things first, have CSK taken the monkey off their back, and is this a sign of a turnaround story for them?
Yeah, it is a bit of a bittersweet thing for me because it came against the RCB, the team that I support. But jokes apart, I think they did look like a proper team in the game against RCB. Of course, their bowling is a little on the weaker side, but the fact that for the majority of the game that they had just lost 2 wickets, and players like Robin Uthappa and Shivam Dube, who haven't had great IPL season over the last couple of years, have started showing that talent that they possess on the field, right? It's just the CSK thing, isn't it? So when you see these things happen on the field, when someone is wearing the yellow jersey and they have not had really good seasons for the last couple of seasons, and now they start performing, it's just a small signal that CSK are doing their thing of coming back and having an impact in an IPL season. Yeah.
Right. So when you see the CSK side, whatever wrong could have happened has already happened. You are pretty sure now that Deepak Char is not going to return. That's the resources that they are going to have. And obviously, we'll talk about Mumbai Indians later. But if I just see both the sides, Mumbai and CSK, I just feel from my own instinct that CSK has slightly better hold, because if you see the lineup, the players like Robin Uthappa, Ambati Rayudu, even to an extent of Shivam Dube, if they get in, they are going to play the long innings. They will score those 80, 90 runs. They would stay till the 16th, 18th overs, as opposed to some players who are very good at power play or very good at the end. So CSK has that advantage with them. And if even Rituraj Gaikwad, if he comes back to form, I think they would have the potential to score these 200, 190 plus scores. And then, I know their bowling is a bit thin, but as the tournament progresses, Jadeja will come into force. Tikshana had a good IPL game last season, and he's a Sri Lankan, so he would be knowing how to bowl in this kind of pitches. So the only weak link they have is the bowling. So do you think it will worry them going forward?
Slightly, yes, because it doesn't matter whether the pitches slow down or the conditions change and help the spinners, but they would need someone who can pick up wickets in power play. And if you remember the last season and the seasons in which they have won, right, they've had that one bowler who used to strike for them during the power play, which was Deepak Char for the last 3-4 years, right? And I haven't really seen anyone who can fill that place. They did try a little bit with the left arm variation with Mukesh Chowdhury, and they have an ex DC bowler in Tushar Deshpande. Both were tried, but I don't really see that quality inside power play. And these days, with the intent that all the opening batsmen showing for in all the 9 to 10 teams, right? They want to go really hard at the first 6 overs. I think that can change the game, and that is where I feel CSK are lacking. But having said that, their middle overs bowling and their batting is quite strong, and I'll be very surprised if at the end of the season CSK are in the second half of the table. I think they're primed to at least move ahead. Maybe they'll end up at 5th. You never know, but they'll never. I don't think they'll be in 9th or 10th or 8th position. I don't think they'll be in the bottom half.
Right. I think if they do that, I think it would be a commendable job, because if you just compare the last season, the players who were standout performers in the last seasons or the last 2 seasons, Sam Curran, there were Shardul Thakur, Deepak Chahar, Faf du Plessis with his form, Rituraj Gaikwad, who was scoring really well. They have not, either they are not in the team or they are not the ones who are scoring. They have again gone back to Dwayne Bravo to lead the bowling attack. Jadeja is the prime bowler. When Jadeja plays for India, he's the second prime bowler. He's not the prime bowler. And even with Chris Jordan, even when he plays for England, he is the second prime bowler. So they are playing with those people who are second when they play for the respective countries or the other franchises. So with these resources, if they try to produce something which makes them come into the top 4, I think it would be really commendable for Jadeja as a captain and them as a franchisee as well.
True.
Going back into the game,
yeah, just one question. Maybe I'll throw in there, Bidhu. What is that one change that you want to make in the CSK squad currently in the playing 11 that might help them in future?
I have to make some changes if possible in the bowling lineup, but I'm not sure how the alternative would play on. Especially, I'm not sure whether they have anyone at the squad who can come in. They have Devon Conway.
Yeah, the reason why I ask is because I was quite perplexed when they played Chris Jordan ahead of Quinn Pretorius and against Lucknow Super Giant and the subsequent game that he played. He showed that mettle. He has a good slower ball, and he was troubling the batsman. And for me, it was baffling to see Chris Jordan in the squad. So I was just thinking if they can replace Chris Jordan, because I feel Chris Jordan looks like a weak link in an already weak bowling lineup. And I think Pretorius will bring in that much needed quality and skill to the CSK bowling lineup.
Yes, I think anyone who can fortify the bowling is a good pick. I don't think Chris Jonas' batting is needed because people in CSK will do the bulk of the batting at the top 5-6. So that change can be a good change, as you suggested. Just sticking to that game, obviously RCB, one of the biggest impact RCB had was when Harshal Patel was unavailable for that game, and you could see everyone anticipated that they would have some problems in the dead bowling, and it was completely taken apart in the end. I think CSK did score 20 runs more, and that's what helped CSK win that game against RCB.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it just begs the question that does one person makes such a huge difference to a bowling lineup? And if that is the case, then it is quite worrying because you never know. Tomorrow, Hazelwood, might get injured or any. Hazaranga is the only lead spinner that we have, and if he gets injured, then what happens, right? So we need certain players to back up as a backup to the current playing 11. So I feel there is a little bit of a lack of death bowling options for RCB since I think season 1 that's never has changed. So Yash Prabhudesai, he played really, really well the other day. But in spite of that, I would have liked Siddharth Kaul to be in the squad in place of Harshal Patel because he's a bit of a like-to-like replacement. And who knows if he had gotten Shivan Dubey or Robin Uthappa early on, or when he generally comes on to bowl in the middle overs, things could have changed. So maybe a little bit of a blunder there in the team selection point of view. But yeah, these are split firm's decision. I'm very sure that they had all the data to back it up. But yeah, I feel that there is the quality backup is a problem for RCB more than any other team.
Yes, and I think Harshal Patel is not coming back anytime soon. Even if he comes very early, he's likely to miss another 2 games because of the quarantine rules.
Yeah.
So in that way, do you think they should change the strategy and probably bat first if they win the toss, or do you want to ensure that whatever score the other team puts up, they have to go in and chase that down?
I think with the way we even went about the chase, right? Without the contribution of Kohli, Maxwell, or Faf, we still reached 193. So in that sense, I still feel chasing is the strong point for RCB. It's the only difference. The only change that I'll make is in place of Akashdeep, I'll have Siddharth Kaul. I think that is probably a no-brainer at this point because Akashdeep looked like someone who had just one trick in his arsenal, bowl those hard lengths, and whenever he's under pressure, he tried to bowl short, but his lines were very, very much off. So I think that's the only change. And as an RCB supporter, I wasn't really I didn't really feel all that disappointed with the game because we still put up a fight. Now, 193 is not a bad score to end up when you're chasing 250. So I think we're okay in that sense.
Yeah, I think towards the end, Dinesh Karthik was taking the game deep, and that ball could have easily sailed over Jadeja. And if that could have happened, he would have had one more good over, and you never know how the things will transpire.
Exactly.
Is it too early to say Dinesh Karthik is the number 6 for India's World Cup, or he has to produce more such innings? Because he's producing the same in front of Virat Kohli, but unluckily Virat Kohli is not the captain.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of calmness he brings to the chase, right? When he comes onto the bat, after 15 overs, it's unreal. Actually, it actually takes me back to Dhoni glory days when you thought, okay, Dhoni is there past this many overs, he's going to finish the game and come back. It is that kind of a feel that he's giving, and it's very difficult to achieve. And he's hitting the ball so cleanly. I mean, he has to compete against the likes of Jadeja, Pandya, in terms of that finisher. And the only thing going against him is they bring in two aspects of the game, right? They're good bowlers as well. So I still don't think he'll make the cut even as the second wicket keeper, because if Ishan Kishan is preferred, he'll be at the top of the order as a replacement. So I still don't think so, but you never know. 3-4 games he wins for RCB. Yeah, T20 is the format in which you actually go with horses for courses. Then why not? I really wish he ends his career on a high. He deserves it. He's been a legend of the game.
Correct. Obviously, the topic for another day to discuss this, but I think he is doing no harm in piling up all these runs and putting pressure of someone like a Hardik Pandya or Jadeja who occupies that particular space in the Indian team.
Exactly. Yeah.
Moving on from that match, there was one more match which happened. It was Mumbai Indians versus Punjab Kings.
Yeah.
Mumbai Indians could have won that game and could have made their road a little bit easy, but not to be. And they have right now lost 5 matches.
Yeah.
And I don't think any team has lost 5 matches and finished within the top 4.
I remember Mumbai Indians doing the same thing, I think. And the UAE, like back in 2014, they lost all the games and then they did qualify for the playoffs. But that was, again, an 8-team event, if I'm not wrong. And then, they had quality back in 2014, but I don't see that quality in this current Mumbai squad. What do you think, Bidhu? Do you really believe that this Mumbai team, in which even though they have overseas players to fill in and they play only 2, and then they've paid 8.25 crores to Tim David and he has only played a couple of games. Do you think the morale of the team is right at the point where we can expect a Mumbai Indian style comeback here?
The problem with not having Tim David is Mumbai's batting is producing the runs. I mean, Tim David cannot obviously replace Ishan Kishan or Rohit Sharma. So you keep them. And when you go down the order, Tilak Verma has produced them runs. Hard to take Karen Pollard out of the team. He is almost like a vice captain or a father figure in that team. And Deval Brevis, the amount of contribution that he has done in 2 games, and especially attacking the spinners, which overseas players cannot, especially Tim David is struggling against spinners. So if Deval Brevis can come in, pile runs against the spinners in the middle overs, it's hard to bring in a change within the top 6. Whether they want to go in at number 7, Team David, look, yesterday, if there were no runouts, they might easily have chased that score, right? So the problem lies in the bowling department. And I don't see, unless they sort that one out, how Team David is going to change the fortunes for them.
No, the reason I ask is because Jaydev Unadkat came in at number 7. With all due respect to Unadkat, right? He's a fantastic cricketer, but he's not a number 7, right? You cannot have Jaydev Unadkat at number 7 and expect to win a tournament. It's just as simple as me. And especially with Karen Pollard out of form, I take that step and say, Pollard, you can rest for a couple of games. We need to try out this guy, Tim David. You never know if he wins them a couple of matches from number 6. Yesterday, that is what needed. That was what was needed, right? Pollard was not striking it in the middle, and that's why Surya went for that second run, because he was a little worried whether Pollard will he get going or not. That actually started that whole run out scenario. So if Tim David, if he can start big right from the word go, I think that will solve a lot of problems to Mumbai. So I know it is quite controversial to say, Pollard should be left out of an MI squad. It has happened before, but I feel right now at this point, if they want to make a match or rather a season out of it, I feel they have to replace Pollard with Tim David.
But if that's okay, you are saying Tim David should replace Kieron Pollard.
Yes.
Interesting. Because I thought he was replacing one of the ballers, and I thought that Kieron Pollard might be expected to bowl all the 4 overs, because I don't think anyone else in the top 6 is going to bowl for Mumbai Indians.
I thought the reason I say so, because I look at the bowling stocks of Mumbai Indians. There is no way that they can, bring in someone new and expect them to perform. So why not strengthen something which can be strengthened? Their batting, right? If Tim David finishes them 2-3 games, then nothing like it, right? Surya and Tim David, they can combine and win them some matches while chasing or something. At least something. You cannot strengthen your bowling with the squad that they have. At least strengthen your batting. And Tim David bowls a little bit of off spin as well. So they don't even have an off spin.
They have one interesting player in that dugout. It's Mayank Markanday. He had been playing with them. He had played a couple of matches when he was in Mumbai. Then he went to Rajasthan Royals. He had lesser number of games, but he is the kind of bowler who has experience.
Yes.
So I'm not sure why Basil Thampi is getting persisted. Maybe the extra pace, or probably the dew, which is ensuring that they don't go in with 2 spinners. But if Basil Thampi is getting he's giving away runs at 9.5, you can just bring in a Mayank Markanday and see how he performs in that lineup. So that will be an option for them. Look, if they lose one more match, do you think they would give a chance to Arjun Tendulkar at this point?
Given the fact that all their bowlers have struggled and he has still not gotten a chance, in the previous seasons, right? Whenever he was bought, Mumbai Indians have traditionally done well, and there were few games which were dead rubber for them. Right? Even then, he hasn't gotten a chance. It kind of worries me, because it just questions whether does he have that quality to succeed or even play in an IPL game. It's an open secret why he's in the team, which is unfortunate, to be honest, because whenever he's picked at the auction, you see smiles around all the team owners, and it's just a joke for all of them. It's just sad to see that. I don't think he'll get a chance this season as well, because if he was good enough, he would have gotten a chance, because Mumbai's bowling is so bad this season. They would have tried if he had even a little bit of quality. I know I'm being harsh on Arjun, but I guess that's the truth.
Right. Because then the buck stops at the auction table. If you're picking 2 players, one is Jofra Archer, who he is not available for the season, and you pick an Arjun Tendulkar who you sure are not going to give a single game.
Exactly.
Then you are not accounting for loss of form, injuries, or something which might come up within the tournament. And that's exactly why you are in the auction table, to look for these replacements and these cushioning when your team is not performing well.
Exactly.
But you never know. You just might see him if Mumbai doesn't do well. Ideally, that should not be the scenario for a player to come in, but that might be the road for him to get in.
Yeah.
Now, moving from these matches that we have covered, we want to talk about a special thing that this IPL has presented us, which is a 10-team tournament. So, Tejas, the first thoughts that you have over a 10-team tournament, is it good for the teams, the players, the fans alike? What are your thoughts?
Maybe because it is just the first season, you've seen the quality come down a little, because especially in fielding, you've seen really easy catches going down, which you have never seen in IPL before. Generally, IPL used to come up with this highlights package, which just included all the brilliant catches. There were a couple of them, no doubt, but you see Mukesh Chaudhary dropping 2 sitters, and yesterday as well, I don't remember. So I think Vaibhav Arora, I think he dropped one of, I'm not sure who is it, but yeah, it was a simple catch as well. So the quality has come down, but what I can see is, the likes of younger players like Tilak Verma, Deval Brevis, Anuj Rawat from RCB, Vaibhav Arora, Jitesh Sharma from PBKS, Punjab Kings. All these guys are standing up and making a statement. And if not for a 10-team IPL, these guys wouldn't have gotten a game at all. So I feel on a longer run, a 10-team IPL is really good for the game. But currently, when we see first couple of weeks, the quality has come down, and we have only seen the glimpses of what we can see in the near future.
Right. So the other thing that is what's happening in the 10-team tournament is that there are certain teams who have a steep downward curve when 6-7 wickets go down. You see that with Rajasthan Royals. Obviously, Ashwin is a decent enough batsman, but after 6 batsmen, there's a steep downward hill. You saw that with Mumbai Indians. They don't have a proper number 7.
Exactly.
Some other teams also have that steep downward curve once they have that initial good players. And again, in the bowling, you have really good 4 bowlers, and the 5th bowler is a complete leakage of runs with the quality that you have.
Yeah.
Fielding aspects, yes. You have the other thing is that players like Anuj Rawat, who are usually the keepers for the respective state teams, when they are fielding at the outfield, they do slip some catches, and that's not a healthy sign. But as the tournament progresses, if these players know that they might be required to play as a fielder, they would be practicing their secondary skills. Because we don't observe that with the Josh Butler and Johnny Bairstow. Because in the field also, they are like lightning fast, they don't drop catches. But it's only with the Indian players that whenever you give them a gloves, or probably don't give them the gloves, the standard drops.
True. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 14 years and we still talk a lot about IPL, and it never ceases to amaze us and just talks about the quality of the tournament. So yeah, long live the IPL is what I'd say.
All right. Now that all the teams have almost played 5 games, almost 1/3, do you think, I'll just present the points table. Let us see if any team can make any. So here we are. I had a little bit of concern with Punjab, but they managed to stay above the top 4. And that was largely because Mayank Agarwal is now in form. And not only is in form, he's actually striking at 150, which is healthy signs. I didn't want him to go in a KL Rahul way, where he has just become the captain and his strike rate has completely gone down. He is striking it well, and that has helped Punjab to stay on number 3. CSK Mumbai are again at the bottom of the table, although CSK have made some progress and gone slightly up. Tejas, any team do you think this week would go from the bottom half to the top half?
I hope RCB. But I think, one of DC or one of RCB, definitely, because both of them have real good depth in the squad and they're playing good cricket as well. But watch out for Sunrisers Hyderabad. I think that's a team has been, a lot of people have, talked not a lot of nice things about them, but they do have a good squad and things are coming together for them. So I'll keep an eye on RCB, DC and SRH.
Right. You rightly pointed out SRH, and Kane Williamson will find it a little bit familiar with New Zealand, the team that he captains. So all he has to do is to ensure that 1 + 1 is more than 2. Yes. They have to punch above their weight, and he is not a captain who doesn't know how to do it.
Exactly.
So the point that you mentioned about SRH, I think other teams need to be wary of.
Yeah.
Anyone from the top 4, you feel that might lose their way if they don't perform to the capabilities?
True. Yeah. Sorry, can you repeat?
Anyone from the top 4, you feel that might lose out on if they don't perform to their capabilities in the coming week?
I'll say top 5. I don't think Gujarat Titans have the resources to go deep into the top. I think their batting is really shallow, and I want them to do well, but again, looking at their squad and the batting depth, which is non-existent at this point, so I expect them to drop down the table pretty soon.
All right. Being an RR fan, this kind of predictions always makes me happy because they are playing with Rajasthan Royals today.
Yeah, I think they're team to beat, actually. RR and LSG, for me, they're team to beat. So, yeah.
All right. So this brings us to an end of the midweek review. We had our share of analysis of the matches that did happen. While we talk, there is a match going to happen, and I think Tejas has hinted about the result of today's match. Is it Rajasthan Royals, Tejas?
Yeah, I mean, cricketing logic says Rajasthan Royals, but
all right, we might just have lost Tejas in that way. So the predictions from our side about today's match was Rajasthan Royals, and for me, it is also Rajasthan Royals. Let's see how the game transpires. Till then, like, subscribe, and share our content. And encourage us to produce more such contents for you guys. Thank you and have a nice day.